I will be embarking on what we can call a sewing marathon because I'm going to be sewing 10 garments in 10 days. So if you want to see me lose my mind and create a summer wardrobe from scratch in a very limited amount of time, stick around because this is going to be fun. If you're new here, I'm Vale. I make vlogs about sewing and living abroad in Colombia. And I am going on 2 pretty big trips in the next month that I am going to sew for. The reason I'm speaking like this is because actually a few videos ago at the beginning of the year, I made a promise to myself that I wasn't going to panic sew, right? That I wasn't going to sew right before a trip, that I was just gonna like take it more, easy with my sewing and not put pressure on myself, etc. And I still kind of want to live by those rules, and yet I have a lot of really cute fabrics in my stash and so many ideas for sewing. I also have been trying to stay off my phone as much as possible, and sewing is pretty much one of the only ways that I've been able to do that because I don't have time to sort of reach for my phone. I'm like doing things. And so part of it is like, yes, I want to have these cute outfits for this upcoming trip that I'm taking. The other part though is I do like sewing so much, and I'm feeling like I like very in the flow recently. I feel like things are going well, like I'm growing in my skills. I feel like that flow, and so I want to take advantage of that too, because I do know that personally I do go through sewing slumps sometimes where I'm like, I don't really feel like sewing, etc. So I'm just gonna take advantage of it and embrace the flow that I'm feeling, and I'm gonna sew really cute outfits. Okay, so here are the trips that I'm taking, and they're a little bit different. The first trip that I'm taking is for work, and I'm going sort of like on an environmental sort of expedition. Let's leave it at that. And so because of that, I need clothes that are kind of fresh, but also appropriate for work, right? I think all of my clothes right now for work are very much like business casual. And then all of my personal clothes are definitely more like skirts, dresses, cute little things. But I need something that has a little more work wear to it, right? That is a little bit more, o sea, un poco más fuerte, right? Like that can withstand a little bit more out in the wilderness, in the wild, okay? So because of that, I am going to be leaning very heavily on the lane. Actually, let me tell you about the other trip. So that is a trip that I'm taking for work. I need stuff that is like workwear, like out in nature, can be in water, can be not, etc. And then I also am going to be going to Mexico City directly after. So I'm going from my work trip directly to Mexico City with my husband and some friends for the World Cup. And no, we don't have tickets. They were too expensive, but we're going to have a lot of fun. And Mexico City, I just like, is so artistic. It's so vibrant. I've been there once before, and I've been to Mexico a few times, but I've been to Mexico City once, and it was just so beautiful there. So I'm very inspired by Mexico City in general to make some outfits for that. I actually made this particular set in my last video for that trip, but there's still a few things that I want to do because I'm going for quite a bit. So I'm going to be going on my work trip for like 2 weeks, and then I'm going to Mexico City for about 10 days. So it's a lot of time, it's a lot of outfits, and yes, I'm going to wash a lot of them. But that is why I'm going to be making 10 pieces in 10 days, and I leave in 12 days. But in 10 days, I'm leaving the country, and I'm going back to Bogota, where I will make my way to the US. All right, so let's talk about what it is I'm gonna make, and we'll kind of keep a little counter of how many pieces it is, but it's 10. I have more than 10 on this screen right now because I was kind of shooting off some ideas of what I might make, but I think I've narrowed it down to what I want. The first thing is a robe. So I need a robe for just like travel. I'm gonna be using sort of like more communal bathroom situations, so I need something like that. But I've also been wanting to make a robe for travel for a while, and I wanted to make it in something light, and I've been holding on to this linen that is super cute, and it's already been washed. So we're gonna start with the robe, and it's gonna be, again, light, easy to pack, something I can wear all across the travel, which I need something just comfortable like that as I'm getting ready, as I'm like getting out of the shower, etc. The next thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna utilize the Lane Pants pattern by Sid Graham to make basically the base of most of my outfits for this upcoming work trip. I'm gonna make the Lane pants in the like full regular style, which is with the cargo pockets in a green cotton. So it's very like green, like granola, so it's gonna be cute. We're gonna make it in green cargo. Then I'm gonna make them again in a linen. It's like a linen viscose, so it doesn't wrinkle, which is what I wanted. And that's because like we are potentially going to be, I know personally I'm going to be near a beach, but we might also be near water with this trip. So because of that, I'm going to make a green linen set of lane pans that dry easily, are easy to pack, etc. And then finally, I'm going to use the Sid Graham tutorial on how to hack the lane pants pattern to make shorts. And I'm going to make them with little racing stripes on the side. So I'm going to make shorts because I feel like that's also, it's going to be hot. I feel like that's also something I want to take. So those are the 3 ways I'm going to make the lane pants. And with the robe, we're up to 4 garments. The next thing that I'm going to make for this work trip, and the last thing I'm making for this work trip, is a skirt. So I've been seeing the season skirt, which I think is by Sewn with Grit, on Instagram, and I feel like everybody's loving it so much, and I think a skirt is just perfect for what I need, which is something versatile, but something, you know, appropriate shorts with a skirt, and I could also use that in Mexico City as well, which I like. I'm gonna make it in white, so it's just gonna be easy to use across different, situations, events, etc. I could wear it with like even my like, you know, World Cup shirt, you know, because it's just a white top or a white bottom. So that's what I'm making for the work trip, and that is 5 things. So the lane pants times 2, the robe, the skirt, the shorts. So those are 5 things for work. The next 5 things are for Mexico City. The first thing I'm going to make is a picnic set dress. So Kaden Naughton has the picnic set, which is a top and shorts. I'm going to extend the top to be a longer sort of baby doll dress because the way that I want to wear that is with a corset on top. So I'm going to be making both those things. The sort of little dress moment, and then the corset on top. So the dress is by Kaden Naughton, and then the corset that I'm going to be making is called the Garden Stay. I'm not really sure who it's by. I'll put it in the description. I just saw it on Instagram, but what I liked about it was that it's long, and I have a long torso, so sometimes it's difficult for me to find corset patterns. So I'm going to give this one a shot, and I'm also going to use a little upcycling. I'm going to do a little upcycling moment because I have this like velvet skirt situation that I never wore that I'm going to upcycle to make this corset. So those are 2 things. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to make an off-the-shoulder top. So there's this, the pleat top is like very popular right now online. I did purchase the pattern, so I'm going to be making the off-the-shoulder top because I can wear it with a lot of the bottoms that I've already kind of discussed here today. So those are 3 things for Mexico so far. I'm going to make that in like a white linen viscose, so it shouldn't wrinkle too much, and I think it's just like the perfect top to be able to pair with a lot of different things. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to finish a blue Sandra skirt that I started last summer. I ended up cutting all the fabric out, and I was making it for a trip I was going on. I think I was going to Cartagena, and I just didn't have time to finish. So I have all of the pieces for the Sandra skirt by Sid Graham cut out, and I also cut out enough for an off-the-shoulder top, and I just never made it. But it's already cut out, and I think that that blue is perfect for Mexico City. So that is the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to finish that out. And because I've already started and cutting it out, and I already cut everything out, I'm going to count that as one thing. I don't know. That's just, in my mind, that's one thing because it's kind of already there. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pimp out my Colombian jersey. I have a Colombian jersey. I hate how jerseys look on me. If you look great in a jersey, you know, more power to you. And it's just not my truth. It's just not my truth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shirr the bottom of the jersey. I'll show you an inspo pic for something I saw online. So they're just a little bit more form-fitting, a little cuter, etc. Maybe I'll wear it with my white skirt. So we're going to make that. And then finally, so I think that's okay, that's the picnic dress, the garden stay, the blue set, the off-the-shoulder top, the Colombian jersey. That's it. That's all I'm doing. Those are the 10 things I'm making. So if that was a lot for you, trust me, I understand it's a lot for me too. They're all linked in the description below, all of the patterns, all of the different pieces that I used. And I'm going to take you along. So again, we're in like marathon state of mind. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to cut out and prep as much as I can. There are a couple patterns here that I need to get printed out, and there are a couple pieces of fabric that need to be washed. So I'm not going to be able to prep everything today, so I'm going to break up my prep into 2 days. That's kind of how I'm thinking. I'm going to prep a few pieces today, cut out a few pieces today, then I'm going to work through sewing all of those, and then I'm going to do another prep day where I, again, cut out all the patterns, cut out all the fabric for the next remaining set of garments. Okay, we got this. Let's go. Okay, let's talk about what is washed, because this is going to be the first set of garments that I'm going to make. Everything that's already washed and all the patterns that I already have ready. So this is kind of like the first part of my 10 garments in 10 days series. Okay, so we're going to use the Lane Pants pattern, and this is the fabric that I'm using for the cargo version. So we're going to cut that one out today, and then we're also going to cut out the viscose, or not viscose, the linen polyester, I don't know, mix. And this is kind of like that linen I was telling you, which doesn't wrinkle, which I like. And so we're going to make a Lane Pants out of this as well. This one won't have the pockets, but we'll cut that out today. Then we're going to cut out the picnic dress, the part dress top by Kate and Naughton in this sort of light cotton. So if you're just trying to see the vision, it's going to be like a very light dress under with the corset on top. We're going to cut that out because I have the pattern ready and the fabric is washed. Boom. So that's 3 things. And then the 4th thing is this linen. This is the beautiful linen that I told you about for the robe. And we're going to make, I think it's called by Tessuti Fabrics or something. I forgot the name of the robe. We're going to make that robe in this, and this has already been washed as well. This was kind of hard to wash. I remember, even though I've had this for years, I already washed it, and I had to like very carefully dunk it, let it sit. It was a whole thing, but it's washed and ready. And then finally, the Sandra skirt set that I told you about in this beautiful blue. And like I told you, I mean, I started making it. That's why I'm counting it as one piece. It's pretty much like done in this, like the skirt is pretty much done. I just have to put the elastic waistband in. So I have to put the waistband into that. So that shouldn't take me too long. And then I have the top part already cut, which I have not started to construct at all. So that doesn't require anything from me other than I'm probably just going to give everything a good iron so that it's ready. And that's really what I'm doing today. I'm going to work through cutting all these things, getting everything prepped. I'll fill you in when that's done. And then if I have time today, then I'll probably start sewing this because, again, it's already almost done and it's just a quick one to knock out so that I can feel like, yay, like one off the list. And then I'll probably go into the robe because the robe should be pretty simple. Anyways, I don't know what order I'll go in, but the idea is I walk out of today with all of my things prepped for these first 5 pieces. It is the next day, and I cut out all the patterns and fabrics, with the exception of the robe, because I randomly realized that I'm missing a page from the A0 printout. I'm not sure if maybe I left it in Bogota or if it just never got printed out and I never noticed because I never made it. But that's okay because I have a plan to send my husband to print the rest of that pattern. I'm gonna have to like tape it together, but I did cut out what I had, which was the majority of it. It's like the back, the like pockets, the robe, the little things to make the little, I don't know, attachments for the robe. So I have most of the pieces. I'm just missing the back piece. So yeah, I'm gonna get that printed and ready for this week. So I'm gonna wait to do that or to sew that until Friday. I was going to do it like 2nd or 3rd, but I'm just going to wait till Friday. But regardless, we are on track. Everything else is cut out. It is almost 5. I was going to wake up early this morning to sew, and I did wake up early, but then I made the mistake of like checking my inbox, and then I was like, I'll just answer one email, and then I'll just answer another email. And I got sucked into the Monday morning email vortex. Before I knew it, it was 9, and it was actually time to start working. So it is what it is. I'm also doing my 10 garments in 10 days during a very busy work season, but we're gonna push through, persevere. And today is actually a great day for the blue set because I am a little tired. It is Monday, etc. So I won't have to do too much. It is very manageable to do this project in the next hour. So here's what I need to do. I have to finish the skirt, which is thankfully almost done. I'm going to start there. Boom, boom, boom. I remember what happened with the skirt. I put the elastic in wrong because for this pattern, you have to stretch the elastic as you put it in. And I didn't do it right and it got all fucked up. And then I just took it out and got frustrated and threw it in the bin. And I was also like flying the next day. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to do it correctly. And then I'm going to finish the casing for the top, fold it over, etc. Finish the bottom, hem it, and then the skirt will be done, which is exciting stuff. And then I have to do the top. This is the thing that loops around the shoulders because it's kind of like an off the shoulder top. And then this is the part that is going to be the bodice. So this one I just need to put elastic on the bottom, finish the bottom, put elastic in it. This top part I have to cut out the armholes, finish it, and then I have to attach the ruffle, off the shoulder ruffle. So I've made this before. Actually, I've made this top like 3 times. I'll link the video. I always follow the same YouTube tutorial by another content creator on here. And it makes the cutest little top. So I will be using the same tutorial. It's been a few months since I made this, but I'm pretty sure I know all the pieces. I'll probably just watch that one more time as a reminder. But feeling really confident. And then tomorrow, we're going to make the picnic set dress, which is the top one over here in the corner, which is also like 3 pieces or 4 pieces. So it's 4 pieces because I have to cut the fabric out in a specific way and I have to attach part of the back fabric. But feeling really good, at least for these first 2 days. Let's go. It's day 2. Did I finish my look for day 1? Yes, I did finish my look for day 1. And it wasn't easy because even though the top was coming together really nicely and I put it together like in an hour, then I went to put in the elastic in the skirt, and this particular pattern has a way of putting in the elastic where you kind of like chop it up into eighths and then you stretch the whole elastic. So because of that, you use less elastic. And I remember last year when I was trying to make the skirt, I used the elastic that was mentioned in the pattern for my size, and it was way too tight. And so and like the pattern says, oh, it'll stretch out, but it really didn't. So this time I went up 2 sizes and it still was too tight because it wasn't my waist size, you know? I don't know if it's because I was using rigid elastic or what, but basically I put the entire elastic in, stretched it, sewed it, flipped it, sewed it again. It was like in there and it was just like a little bit too tight. Like it wasn't too tight, like I could still wear it. It was like definitely like you could wear it in pictures, but I just knew it was not going to be comfortable. It was like constricting. So I spent all of last night on the couch just like seam ripping. And again, I'd done so much because I was like, I'm getting this thing in there. And like the stitches were like it was a mess. So I spent all of that like last night and like 30 minutes this morning unpicking just the elastic and then refixing the top part because I like kind of ripped up. Anyways. And then this morning I did have a couple hours to sew and I finished it. So I put the elastic in finally. I didn't use the method. I was like, I'm done. Like I just like absolutely can't, trust again. But I did just make a channel and put the elastic in. Like that's what I should have done to begin with. And I hemmed it. This also has a very interesting rolled hem technique, which I do like. And I did do that and it went great. So anyways, I love the pattern. I just realized I will not be pursuing that elastic option ever again in my life. So, okay, it is day 2. It is 5 p.m. And even though I used some hours this morning to finish this, I'm still super on track. And that led me to realize that like actually, if I do some sewing in the morning, in the afternoon, like some of these more complex projects, I should be fine. It's just that this one, I spent a lot of time unpicking. But it did also let me have that sort of like realization that if I do mess up, I do have a little bit of window of time in the morning that I could always kind of utilize to finish the look for the day before. Although I'm only going to use it when I absolutely have to. So we're going to get started on the picnic dress. This dress is pretty straightforward. The only thing that I have to do that's a little different is that like I didn't have enough fabric for the back. So I'm just gonna have to sew the back together. This does sort of like gather a lot, so I'm not really worried about that. And again, I'm gonna use this as a base with like a corset on top, so I don't really care that it's gonna be sewn in the back. And also I had no choice. So we're gonna do that. And the other thing is that I don't know how long I want it. I was able to cut it quite long because last time I made this dress, it was just so short. And I turned it into a top basically. So I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna sew the whole dress together, then try it on, then determine where I want to cut it. It doesn't have that many pieces, so it should be a pretty straightforward sew. But again, like famous last words. So I'm gonna give this a shot. If I am able to finish today, then I'm super on track for tomorrow. And tomorrow we're sewing our first pair of lane pants. And in the afternoon or like at night when I'm done sewing, I'll also be putting together the last pattern that I need for this batch. So I'm on track. As long as today is a good day. So let's just hope. Okay, let's get into it. Okay, we finished. It's actually the next day. So we are at day 3 of 10 garments in 10 days. But we finished this last night. The reason I didn't show you is because my phone ran out of storage and I had to delete like 1,000 things. But I'm going to show you now. I finished pretty much everything. The only thing I didn't do was I didn't hem it, and that's because I don't know how long I want this to be. I want to wear this with the garden stay corset on top, so I want to use this as like the base of that outfit. And so depending on that corset, I'm not really sure where the dress is going to fall, and so I don't know how much to cut it. So I don't want to preemptively cut it. There's also a world in which I totally fuck up that corset and it doesn't come out looking cute, in which case my plan is to turn this into a pajama because it's so comfortable. The cotton is so fresh and light, and I think originally when I got this cotton, I wanted to make a pajama out of it. It's also kind of see-through. But anyway, so I have a plan B. If I were to make this into a pajama, I would probably just do a couple of things like make this, instead of an elastic, like maybe a drawstring, so that it's like easy for me to control how I want it. And also because elastic can be a little uncomfortable to sleep with, in my opinion. Or I would probably make the elastic like much like larger, so it's just more comfortable. Right now, because I want it to be off the shoulders, it's like snug on the shoulders, right? Because I wanted to stay up. So I'd probably change that if I made this into a pajama. So anyway, that's why I haven't hemmed it. But other than that, it's super cute. It was a super easy sew, and I love it. So cool. What else did I do this morning? Or that was last night. This morning, I started sewing the lane pants because, again, we are getting started on day 3. So it's time for a pair of lane pants. Here's what I did this morning. I made the pocket bag and I attached the pocket bag to the pant. I still need to baste it, which is why it's clipped right now, and I have this for both pieces. So for both pieces, I made the pocket bag, which uses like a French seam method, and I attached it to the pant, and I just need to baste it in place. So that's coming along really well. I was going back and forth about whether I wanted to add an elastic to this or a drawstring, but it just looks better with a drawstring, in my opinion. It looks a little like a touch up from the elastic. So I'm going to do it, even though it's an extra step. I'm going to make the elastic with a buttonhole, etc. But this is coming out really cute. So let's get into it. So far, we're on track, which is pretty cool. So yeah. Today is probably the latest I've ever started. I finished the pants yesterday. I'm actually wearing them. They're super cute. I'm actually going to show you all the looks at the end a little bit more closely. Can you see out here? I think so. They're so cute. However, I kind of messed up a little bit because yesterday I didn't put in the thick elastic. I was like, oh, I'm making a drawstring, so I just like closed it all up. And I did have to put elastic in it. So anyway, I took a little bit longer last night than I wanted to on that. But other than that, I love this pattern because it is so fast. I'm going to be making another one today, and today is probably the latest I've started yet because it's almost 6, starting to, you know, get dark outside. But that's okay. We're going to put on RuPaul's Drag Race and get started. I actually already got started a little bit this morning. I had like maybe 30 minutes. And I'm glad I did because I put the pockets together. Somebody online said that if you use gray thread, if you don't have like thread that matches your fabric, you can use gray and like it'll blend. That is a lie. Like that looks white on this fabric. So I'm glad I tested that out because that's the pocket that's on the inside. It doesn't matter. I do have brown, so I went with brown instead because I don't have this color green. So figure that out, loaded my machine. I got my fabric here. Now, I was originally just going to do a pair of sort of like traditional lanes with like the cargo pocket, but I really don't like that look. I feel like I was going to try to do something like that because I'm going on this sort of like utilitarian kind of work trip that is like, oh, what about? I'm like, people wear, but it's just not me. So what I'm going to do instead is I am going to do a pair of elasticated pants using the lane pants pattern, but I'm going to use like the stripes on the side. I think that the inspiration for this is Donnie, if I'm not mistaken, something like that. It's like a brand. And so I've just seen it because a lot of people have started to replicate it based on that brand using the lane pants pattern. And I think it looks super cute. It's like a little more athletic kind of looking pant. And it's giving like very like old school. I love it. So we're going to do that. Now I don't have like the right color or the color that I would really want for this bias tape. I have white. I would love something more beige. I only have a little bit of beige left, not enough to do this on both sides. So it's just going to have to be white. So it is what it is. I think it's going to look good. If it doesn't look good, I could always just take it off and like take it apart and like just get rid of it. Like I'm not losing anything by giving it a shot, I guess, except time. So not ideal because I don't have a lot of time, but it's not the end of the world if it doesn't look great at the end. I do think it's going to look good. I don't really love a super bright white in general. I'm wearing white. Ooh. In special occasions I do, but a lot of times it's just like too white, you know, a little more off white. But yeah, let's get started. I'm going to just kind of breeze through this, so I'm not going to do a ton of recording, again, because I'm starting a little bit late, but I'll tell you how it goes at the end of today. Okay, I'm done cutting out the patterns. Oh my god, it's so windy in here. We're out here today. But I'm done cutting out this pattern. I'm a little bit like annoyed at the pattern. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. I ended up seeing these pieces afterwards that were like to attach to the front. So, okay, that one's on me. I'm like, maybe I didn't see that. And now I've cut both pieces a little too short, which is fine. It's like a long robe anyway, and I'll just be like a little more to the calf than like to the floor, and it's fine. But then there are some pieces that are so confusing. Like this part here is the neckband and it says cut 1 pair. So I'm like, okay, that means cut 2, right? But then, right? And then over here it says short, so hold on, where does it say? Is this the neck robe? There's one other pattern that says something so weird that's like, trace the pattern before cutting on the fold. And I'm like, what does that mean? Does it mean just like cut it on the fold? I cut 1. Anyways, I'll figure it out. It's fine. It's a robe. This is like a lot of pieces and a lot of like really random directions for what is very much a robe and should, I think, be easy. So just gonna give it a shot. Let's go. I will tell you, this is a pretty intricate pattern for a robe. You know what it is? It's like a lot of stay stitching, and the way that things are attached, it's like they're being attached in a way that kind of encloses. It's not a French seam, but it's like even the pockets, like you turn them out in a way. It's interesting. It's interesting. I'm learning a lot, which is the perspective I'm taking, because earlier I was sort of like feeling like, oh my God, I cut that pattern wrong. I had to do blah, blah, blah. And it's like complicated. And yes, those things are still true. And it is coming out really nicely. And I'm learning or practicing patience. But I'm actually moving. I've constructed this thing, which is actually doesn't look like much because it is like literally 3 pieces of fabric, but there was a lot involved. And now I'm gonna put the collar on. I got the collar, see, like for example, for this collar, it wasn't just like attach the collar and like serge it and like that's it, right? It's like you have to stay stitch it, and then after stay stitching it, like press it all down, and then now I'm gonna attach it. So I'm like not really sure why, but I'm trusting the process. So I'm gonna add that, and then the only other thing I have to add, or I have to make the ribbon, not ribbon, but the thing. I'm done. Words are done. I'm done with words today. And then I have, oh, this is part of the tie. Oh, the tie. So I need to make the tie. And then I've got these sleeve bands here, which I'm pretty sure I just attach and serge and hem. Pretty sure that cannot be more complicated than that. But yeah, it's coming out really cute. Actually, as I was making it, I was like, maybe I should give it to my mom. I feel like she would really like it. We'll see. We'll see. But I probably have another hour of sewing left, and then I'll be done, and then I'll be 5 looks, which is crazy. I'm definitely feeling tired, but that's okay. I'm taking a day off, so it's still going to be 10 days, but it's like I'm taking a day off in between starting my next 5 days because that's how I planned it, and I'm glad I did. Originally, I was like, maybe I'll push through and maybe I'll be able to make one more thing and I'll make 11 things, but it's like, no, like I need to take a little bit of time to like reset, step away from the machine for a little bit, and then come back ready to go. But this is really going to be part 1. So yeah, I'll show you this when I'm done. We did it. We finished the robe somehow, some way. Actually, toward the end, it wasn't so bad. It was just at night, so I couldn't show you. But it actually came out so cute. I know that I was complaining about it a lot as I was making it. I think it's because I was getting to that like 5-day mark that I was just sort of getting frustrated by any little thing that was an inconvenience, which I think is normal, but it does sort of show me that it is time for a little break before I start the next part of this video. But I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna make 5 more pieces these next 5 days, starting tomorrow, and that will put me right up against when I'm leaving for this trip. So yeah, I mean, I think that the important thing is to realize that this should be fun, and any moment that it becomes not fun, I can stop, right? But so far it has been fun because look at all the things that I'm making that are so cute. Like this robe, I've been sitting on this project for like a year. This was one of the first patterns I bought, which is maybe why I bought it from a pattern maker that I actually don't really know very well. It was like an Etsy pattern. But now it's done, right? And I've also been holding on to this linen for a very long time because it's very nice. And I just you know, it's also kind of see-through. So it's like, it wasn't necessarily going to be a garment really. And because it's so beautiful, I didn't want to like turn it into like a corset and cut up the pattern anyway. So I feel like this was the perfect project for this. And all of those little finishes just ended up coming out so clean. So a testament actually to a strong pattern. The pattern cutting was confusing, but anyway, all that to say, this is part 1, 10 garments in 10 days. Follow along for part 2. Let me show you all of the looks. I'm also showing all of these on my TikTok, which I've linked in the description, so you can see all of them a little bit more closely there as well. Okay, see you next time.